selfish sacrifice. We're going to get them on a run. We're going to go, and we aren't going to stop until we go to that goal line. We are Notre Dame.
Get on the bus. Next stop, Notre Dame Stadium.
From the house that Rockney built to the dynasty of Air Parsegian, this is the home of Fighting Irish football.
The place where greatness is earned 1 yard at a time. The field that forged Notre Dame legends like Theismann, Montana, and Brown.
The land of never quit, never surrender. The legacy, the passion, the tradition. That is Notre Dame football.
ABC57 Kickoff is back.
Bigger and better
than ever.
Another season of Fighting Irish football. It all starts here.
This is our house. This is our team.
This is ABC57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC 57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
A brisk but beautiful day for football here on the campus of Notre Dame. You'd think it was a Saturday in October. The fans are ready, the tailgates are set up, and football is back. Vahid, I am so excited. Welcome to ABC 57 Kickoff. I'm Allison Hayes.
And I'm Vahid Sadrazadeh. It is April 20th, but don't let these gloves fool you. We've got golf set up here today. It's going to be a fantastic day right here at Gate 10, our new location for the spring, Allison. We've got hand warmers, too.
Hand warmers, too. We can hear the music inside the stadium right now as the team is warming up. It is just, it's so much fun to be back, and you can feel the excitement. People have been coming and going all morning. Let's go.
Let's go. Barbecuing, some new fresh faces on the Irish for the fans to take in, but it's been a little bit of a whirlwind and merry-go-round here to start the spring.
Yeah, that's right. With some new faces on the coaching staff, the Irish also picked up some transfer players in that transfer portal.
So what can we expect from today's scrimmage and the Irish? ABC 57 Kickoff's Levon Whitaker is live and joins us with what's working for the Irish and where can they improve on this spring. Levon?
Well, Allison, Vahid, let me just say the vibes are pretty darn good out here outside Notre Dame Stadium as we stand outside and wait for kickoff for the 93rd annual Blue Gold game. But as Freeman enters year 3 as the head coach here at Notre Dame, every season seems to present somewhat of a new challenge when it comes to retaining players and coaches in this crazy college football market. But this season, the defense looks promising as it did last season, but it's the offense that's starting over.
From top to bottom, the Notre Dame offense has been restructured.
This is a place that I've always felt my heart was.
The heart of Mike Denbrock brought him back to Notre Dame, his third stint with the Irish, and Coach Marcus Freeman's third offensive coordinator in 3 seasons.
He's a competitive dude, and I heard him out there today chirping and get back to. They threw a long ball, and I hear get back to the huddle, get used to that. That's what we do, and I'm like, okay, I like that.
Denbrock back under the Golden Dome after stops at Cincinnati, then LSU, leading the Tigers as the #1 offense in the country last season, averaging over 45 points per game, and now planning to take Notre Dame's offense to new heights.
We want to be an offense that is up on our toes and in people's face when we play. We don't want to be back on our heels and adjusting to everything that the defense. We want to dictate the style of play.
Easier said than done, with tight ends Mitchell Evans and Kevin Bauman both out this spring due to ACL tears.
I like where the tight ends are going, too. We don't have a bunch of healthy bodies there right now.
But Denbrock's play style favors the pass game. And leading the Whiteouts is first-year coach Mike Brown and new faces like Florida international transfer Chris Mitchell.
Throwing a lot of different guys, seeing how much they can handle, trying to find who are the top 5, 6 guys, and then we'll put them in the positions that to be the most successful.
The Irish had majority of their success last season with the run game, specifically with former running back Audric Estime's 1,300-plus rushing yards and 18 touchdowns. So who's next in line? Sophomore Jeremiah Love, who's been splitting reps at running back and receiver this spring, or juniors Jadarian Price and Jabron Payne?
continuing to get them guys high volume reps, opportunities for them to show that they can be those lead guys, which I seen that last year.
One thing we saw last year, the Irish defense motivating the offense. The Notre Dame defense returned 6 starters this year, including 3 key pieces, linemen Howard Cross and Riley Mills, and 2023 National Defensive Player of the Year, Xavier Watts.
Last year doesn't matter much, like whatever we accomplished as the 23 defense, there's no, you don't get to carry it forward, and I think the challenge for our group now is, who are we?
Well, listen, Al Golic can try to look past the success of the defense from 2023, but the facts are they finished 5th overall in the NCAA, so we hope that they can do better this season. That's the expectation, at least, as year 3 with Al Golden as the defensive coordinator. And we hope that the defense, the talent and the experience on the defense is bringing the offense up to speed. Live outside Notre Dame Stadium, I'm Levon Whitaker, ABC57 Kickoff.
Hey, don't let Vahid fool you. It is cold out here. He brought a coat with him, and he's just not wearing it. He wanted to look good for his live shot.
Levon's not wearing a jacket.
No.
We're like,
But it's cold, and you
it's
need
cold.
a coat. Now, Al Washington and Dylan McCullough will once again be the coaches for today's spring game. McCullough is the gold team coach, and Washington the blue, and these two guys are chippy. Boy, they are competitive, and they both want to win.
They are. And here are the rules for today's game. 4 15-minute quarters. The second half, oh, by the way, will be a running clock. There'll be a live kickoff to start the game, but no punting, no punts.
Interesting, since the punter just entered the transfer portal. Now,
could be why.
Players in green uniforms can compete for both teams. Quarterback Steve Angeli will be in a red jersey and cannot be tackled, but quarterback C.J. Carr will play QB for both teams, and Carr and Minchie can both be tackled.
Now, interesting on that, C.J. Carr actually had a fantastic – they played here last Saturday in the stadium, offense versus defense. C.J. Carr had a fantastic practice.
He did.
So
he was the star of the scrimmage.
The defense will be gunning for him specifically.
They're licking their chops.
The Irish are a bit banged up. As we already mentioned, this spring several players are injured and will not play today. And you can see the list, the full list right on your screen, a bunch of names, including Duke transfer quarterback Riley Leonard, who has had 2 ankle surgeries since he arrived on campus. Tight ends Mitchell Evans and Kevin Bauman are also out, as well as wide receiver Jaden Thomas and running back Jadarian Price. And on D, cornerback Benjamin Morrison, a big one, will not play today due to a shoulder injury.
I am bummed that Cam Williams is out because I wanted to see that connection between him and the freshman C.J. Carr. They were connecting last week at that scrimmage. Well, hey, we still got more to come. It's a busy day. We got live guests. It's going to be so much fun. Check out what we've got in store.
God's talking to me here. It's time.
We talk one-on-one with outgoing athletics director Jack Swarbrick, his proudest moments, his biggest regrets, and the expansion of the college football playoffs.
If we're anywhere 1 through 8, we're hosting that first game.
Linebacker Jack Kaiser set the tone when he received the game ball after his first start. How the homegrown Hoosier is embracing a new role in his final season. Notre Dame legends take over.
It was live, and I'm vibe, and I'm pride, and we always gonna ride. Bars.
What former cornerback Troy Pride and former linebacker Mike Goolsby want to see from the Irish today. Plus, chip off on kickoff. The one and only Mike Golic stops by for some fun and games. And Riley Leonard may be down, but he's not out.
Able to do pretty much all the QB drills that the other guys are doing.
How a quick sideline fix by a Notre Dame trainer is revolutionizing sports medicine.
Head coach Marcus Freeman and members of the football team helped unveil the 2024 last night on the library lawn. A blue-gold game tradition in its 35th year. This year, the shirt is yellow with a drawing of the four horsemen on the front and a gold helmet on the back with the phrase, "The tradition continues." The shirts are available online and at the campus bookstore. All the proceeds go to student clubs and organizations.
I love to see Marcus there. That was one thing we always saw. They had pep rallies every game the last few years with Brian Kelly, and the whole team would be there. And they're kind of got away from that. So it's nice to see Marcus Freeman there. He's always been there for the shirt unveiling.
I kind of like it this year. A changing of the guard for the first time in nearly 2 decades. Notre Dame has a new athletic director.
Yeah, that's right. And Pete Bavacqua officially took over the role last month. Bavacqua is a Notre Dame graduate and former chairman of NBC Sports. He replaces Jack Swarbrick, who's stepping down after 16 years as AD. Now, the two have spent the past several months working together to make the transition as smooth as possible. I had a chance to sit down exclusively one-on-one to talk with Jack about his 16 years worth of accomplishments, maybe what meant most to him, if he has any regrets, and why now is the time for him to step away.
You just sort of know it's time, right? I mean, I love everything about the job, and there's nothing where I felt like, oh, I don't think I want to do this anymore. You just have a feeling that it's time. 16 years is a really long time in this job. Plus, we had identified such a great replacement that everything just sort of came together and added up. And then when you put on top of it, my boss was going to leave. It was just, okay, this is, God's talking to me here. It's time.
Looking through your career, in 16 years, you have a long list of accomplishments that you've gone through. Do you have one or two that really stand out to you that you're maybe most proud of?
I take special pride in the development of Fighting Irish media. When I got here, there was no digital media presence at Notre Dame at all, university or athletically. And I felt pretty strongly that where media was headed, we had to be able to tell our own story. Building that capability and having it become such an extraordinary part of the business, that's always been a real source of pride to me. Crossroads, and it certainly is, because of what it represents. I mean, I think it's one of the best football stadiums in the country now, but more importantly, it represents the integration of athletics and academics, right? Those 3 buildings that we attach to it serve all kinds of university purposes, and so that's been great. And maintaining independence. I mean, it's who we are. It's part of our identity, and that's had a lot of dimensions to it. The ACC agreement, the college football playoff, all part of staying independent.
Now, to put you on the other end of that spectrum, do you have any regrets that you think back on and say, oh, I wish I would have maybe done this, or we'd have accomplished this?
Well, I certainly regret when bad things happen, right? And you have those occur, but by and large, I feel really good about how we responded to them. And the classic example of that is the Manti Te'o situation. And while that was a difficult time, certainly first and foremost for Manti, I so loved the opportunity to defend him, because that's what we do at Notre Dame. We know our students, we know who they are. In this case, we understood and believed everything about what he had been a victim of. The worst day of my time here was the death of Declan Sullivan, the videographer. If you could turn back the clock, you would, but you can't. And what do you learn from it? How do you move forward? How do you embrace his family and all the great stuff they've done from that moment? And so, yeah, it's how you take those moments and what you do with them.
In your time, you've had 10 national championships among many sports, but not one just yet for football. Does that one kind of wish we could get there?
Absolutely. I mean, the Notre Dame athletic director should be evaluated on whether during his or her time you win a football championship. Notre Dame needs to compete for football championships, and I don't shy away from that at all. I mean, I absolutely wish we had done it. Learned a lot on the path towards getting closer to it. I feel great from where we started to where the program is now. I feel so good about where the program is now. We haven't quite taken the final step yet, but it's coming.
Well, no doubt about it, Vahid. Not winning a national championship in football is something that is going to going to haunt him. But, man, it can't overshadow the long list of accomplishments that he was able to be a part of during his 16 years here at Notre Dame. And coming up in just a little bit, we're going to have part 2 of this conversation. And he talks very openly, very frankly about his opinion on the state of college athletics. He calls it, quote, a disaster. And it's really interesting to hear his thoughts on NIL and the transfer portal. And also, he's going to talk about his involvement in the new 12-team playoff that will be starting this fall.
And one more accomplishment for Jack, just announced this morning, a bit of breaking news here for you on ABC 57 Kickoff. Starting in 2026, the football team will be out of the Goog and into a new facility. So they're going to break ground on that officially relatively soon. So we'll see who moves into the Goog and where the football team lands with brand new facilities in 26.
Part of a major renovation and construction project here on campus.
Well, it's a dream come true for Hoosier native Jack Kaiser. Coming up, how the veteran linebacker is tackling a new role as he gets ready for his 6th and final season.
Plus, there's some sun, there's some clouds, but a bit chilly here on the campus of Notre Dame. We have a check of your game day forecast next.
You are taking a live look high atop Notre Dame, atop the Golden Dome on a sunny, beautiful Saturday here from campus. Notre Dame fans out in full force today to cheer on the Irish in the annual Blue Gold game. Sunny, albeit a little chilly.
Yeah, that's right. Well, welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. And while it is crisp, it feels like football weather, and I think we should check in with ABC 57 meteorologist Dave Caulfield for a look at your game day forecast. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Allison and Vahid. You know, part of the spring game is gearing up for the season to come in the fall. Well, Mother Nature is providing a little bit of extra motivation there because it feels like a football Saturday during the season here on campus at Notre Dame. In fact, temperatures will be in the mid-40s for the start of the Blue Gold game this afternoon, and really, with the wind chill, it's going to feel more like the 30s throughout much of this game. And typically for this time of year, we're actually in the 60s. At least last weekend, we were well into the 70s. It was feeling like summer outside. This time, it looks like spring, but it feels a little bit more like winter. In fact, today's high of 48 degrees is actually colder than the coldest game during last season on campus by about 5 degrees. So it feels like mid-November outside, and it is the coldest Blue Gold game since 2013. So it has been a while, but that's not going to dampen any spirits here on campus. Meteorologist Dave Caulfield for ABC 57 Kickoff.
Well, 6-year linebacker Jack Kaiser has certainly come a long way since his first start during the COVID year in 2020.
Now a leader of this young defensive group, Kaiser is leaning on his local roots and a renewed sense of leadership as he begins his final season at Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's the peak of the mountain, right, in terms of college football, especially in Indiana. Wearing a golden helmet just to be on the team. Like, those are dreams of, many kids here in the state of Indiana.
Jack Kaiser should know he was one of those kids growing up in a rural community about 90 minutes from South Bend. Welcome to Royal Center, Indiana, a small town with big football pride. Kaiser led Pioneer High School to consecutive state championships in 2017 and 2018 and remains one of the most decorated football players to ever come out of the Hoosier State. Anna Berry coached the Panthers and Kaiser.
Just his work ethic. I mean, in the weight room, he was never a guy that you had to challenge. He was going to challenge himself.
And that mentality carried him through to the biggest stage of all. In 2020, on a Saturday afternoon versus South Florida, Kaiser's number was finally called. In his first start in a Notre Dame uniform, he earned the game ball.
To get the game ball, you just don't think things like that will happen to you.
To say Kaiser has taken advantage of his opportunity would be an understatement. Not only was he honored with Special Teams Player of the Year in 2023, but he's contributed to the Irish defense with 111 solo tackles, 11 of them for a loss. 4 sacks, 4 interceptions, including this game-sealing return against Wisconsin in 2021.
What are you seeing leadership-wise from Jack, and how is he affecting some of that young linebacking core?
Yeah, he's the elder statesman, I was making fun of him in the pregame lines saying, how many practices or spring games have you been in this stadium? Like, he's been here a lot, but he made a decision to come back for a reason. He wants to make sure this team reaches its full potential. So he's been a unbelievable vocal leader by example.
Going into your 6th spring, you'd think, everything's gonna be the same. You've kind of been through it. But fortunately for me, everything has been different. I've had to grow up really, or not. I'm pretty old, but I've had to take a new step in leadership. I haven't been able to lean on other guys. I've taken that challenge upon and kind of, really embraced it.
Now in his final season with the Irish, the once practice squad surprise is once again inspiring the up-and-coming players of the next generation with his leadership and the hard work that set the tone for his career.
He got the job done in the classroom, Lilly Scholarship winner, valedictorian, leader of his class. Now our young kids can see what hard work, dedication, and can be. And so he's a great role model for the kids around this community.
Not only for the kids in Royals Center, who aspire to play on this field, but now his younger teammates at the University of Notre Dame.
We got a lot of new faces, a lot of exciting faces, a lot of different talents. So to see them, kind of put on the gold helmet for the first time and be able to play really well and play fast and put on a show is going to be a lot of fun.
It's a great mentor for those young linebackers in terms of how to approach every day, how to work, how to go about your business. And so grateful to have him back for his, I think it's his 6th year, all right? But just grateful to have him a part of this team.
Well, Coach Freeman and Jack both joking about his age and the fact he's been around the program for such a long time. But interesting enough, Allison, and actually I got this stat from you, so thank you. He is only 8 years younger than his linebacker coach, Max Bull, who's also a fiery guy, but 8 years difference between those two.
I know, that's crazy, and I love to see him out at practice. He looks like one of the players right out there with him still, but great job on that piece, by the way. To go to his hometown, he is a hometown hero for sure, and a proud Indiana native. So that's a great get for the Irish, and just the kind of guy that you want in your program. And to stay for 6 years, what he's going to do this season, on and off the field, is just you can't beat that.
Well, we'll ask our next guest about him as well.
That's right. This guy certainly knows a thing or two about being a Notre Dame linebacker. Mike Goolsby. He's one of the many former players back on campus today. Good thing he didn't play golf here for the Irish.
He's wearing the green jacket, though.
He looks good in it. Up next, we break down this Irish defense with Mike Goolsby. Plus, what does he think of the Notre Dame quarterbacks? Stick around. Well, we are joined now by former Notre Dame linebacker and former captain Mike Goolsby, and you definitely a little vocal on social media as well, which is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show with us, so welcome.
Yeah, happy to be here.
And I like to kind of rattle off some of the stats of our former players when they come on to
I love that.
Remind people of just how good you were back in your day. So one of the many former players back on campus for Legacy Weekend, Mike played for the Irish from 2000 to 2004, battled through a few injuries, but your claim to fame, that Tennessee game in Knoxville, had a heck of a game. You had a season-high 14 tackles, a sacks, and then, of course, a 26-yard interception return for a touchdown to lead the Irish to victory. And you're a first-timer on our show, so
hey, there we
welcome.
Go. Yeah, lots going on. But, yeah, all that's that was a good time 20 years ago. And that Tennessee game, I was telling somebody last night, I had had that game circled years in advance. So it was just amazing the way it worked out.
Well, that's awesome.
And you're not only a former Irish football player, but also you host 2 podcasts focused on Irish sports, including the Mike Goolsby Show for Blue and Gold Illustrated with Mike Singer. So that means we don't only have to talk defense with you. We'll talk offense, too. But let's talk about this year's crop of linebackers. We just saw the story on Jack Kaiser. He's obviously going to be the senior leader on this team. Where do you think he fits in with this young, talented group does he get the start, or are we looking at some other guys?
I think early in the season, sure, he's going to get the start. And where do you need him? Wherever. So I think talked about this quite a bit on the pod, actually, but I think, in a third and obvious situation, I think you can move him inside to Mike, and you'd have a Jalen Sneed and Osbury playing your Will. And then on a mix down, I think he can slide back to Will, and you'd have a KVA, a Drake Bowen playing Mike. So I think he gives Coach Golden a tremendous amount of flexibility. And for Jack in particular, I'm happy to really see him get his time in the sun. He deserves it. He's been here a while.
a long time.
Yeah.
Well, let's focus on the interior of that defensive line now and, the ends.
Sure.
Who's going to put pressure on these quarterbacks this year? Because I feel like that could be a missing piece to this team.
Yeah, I talked to Riley Mills last night. This is part of the fun of this weekend. We get to engage with the current players. He's slimmed down a bit, going to added athleticism, so I'm optimistic to see what that looks like. But, you name it. That's a big part of the reason Coach Freeman's here is to recruit some of these athletes. And, frankly, eyeballing them last night, they look different in a good way. Okay. So
physically?
Oh, yeah.
That's been a big thing with Lando.
For sure. They're much longer, leaner. Football's changing. It's constantly evolving. So it's almost like you've got basketball players with their hands in the dirt. So, that's an aspect of the defense super optimistic about.
Okay. We saw Jalen Sneed, and you talk about slimming down, and, man, he had his jersey tucked under his pads, and you could see his abs. It's a washboard. He is in great shape. But we did say we were going to not just talk defense with you. Everybody's talking quarterbacks, of course. It's Notre Dame. We want to talk QBs. And one thing that I've seen on your social media is you kind of started a hashtag campaign, and tell us what that is.
Hashtag why not Kenny? Why not Kenny?
Kenny Minchie, of course.
Yeah, and again, so another aspect of this weekend, we got to get around the coaches last night. They had a happy hour, and I got a chance to spend quite a few minutes with Coach Denbrock, who on his first go-around, I was here, so we know each other. So we actually got into the quarterback conversation. But, the whole why not.
Do tell.
Yeah, what did he say?
And he's going to start who in the fall?
You got to watch the podcast.
Good tease.
I'm getting good at this. But, frankly, the why not Kenny thing came about because it was like he seemed to be overlooked. All the hype around C.J. Carr, all the hype around Riley Leonard, Angeli's Army, as I like to call it. And then Kenny was kind of lost in the shuffle. And I personally believe, I know he's the fastest quarterback. That's been confirmed. And I think he's got the most arm talent. So, he's got to continue to mature and develop. But in terms of physical traits, I'm a fan.
I like him a lot, too, actually. I think he's going to end up being sort of the odd man out, and I don't like that because he is so strong. Also, he's just got that body type. But just to wrap us up, as we're running out of time, you have all kinds of jobs you're doing, but one of which that you're most proud of is training individual athletes. And all these high school kids that you've been working with in Nebraska, they've all gone on to win or to earn college scholarships, including places like Oregon. And right here at Notre Dame, you've got an early enrollee freshman that you worked with who is playing your same position now here at your alma mater.
That's correct. Yeah. Teddy Rezac and his twin brothers coming as a preferred walk-on on the offensive side. He's a quarterback, but was talking to Coach Bull about that last night. So it's something I'm really proud of. I've been doing it for years and years and years. It's kind of my give back, and football is just such a big part of my life and will continue to be. And that's what actually led me into podcasting. So we don't have time for that story, but you tend to say yes to things and good things come your way. So I'm very proud of it.
Well, I think we need to have you back in the fall. You got to come for a game, and you got to come back and visit
I'll
us.
be here.
All right.
You got my name. You got my number.
And we're going to have you come back at the end of the show to do some prop bets with us. So that'll be fun.
That's right. I'll be here.
All right. This new Notre Dame offense is creating some new opportunities for running back Jeremiah Love.
That's right. How he's been shining this spring. Plus, we take you inside the special pregame tradition he shares with his dad before every game.
With the same rich tradition of the Irish.
Wake up the echoes cheering your name.
Send the volley cheer on high.
Shake down the thunder from the sky.
What though the odds be great or small?
Old Notre Dame will win overall.
While her loyal sons and daughters
march on to victory.
It's Tim Brown, Heisman Trophy winner, and you're watching ABC57 Kickoff.
You're watching ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, live from the campus of Notre Dame, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Well, one of the big questions of this spring is what will happen with this run game and who will replace Audric Estime, who rushed for more than 1,300 yards and 18 touchdowns last season.
Well, the good news, Notre Dame has a talented group of young running backs with plenty of experience. Jeremiah Love has been lighting it up this spring, and with his speed and versatility, he's been splitting reps, Allison, between not only backs but also wide receivers. It'll be interesting to see how the Irish offense uses Love this season, but one thing is for certain, that his family will be there cheering him on every step of the way. Our Levon Whitaker has the story.
In the moments leading up to the Irish taking the field, Jason Love patiently waits and looks for his son, Jeremiah.
We try to make every game so I can have that moment with him.
It's a moment Jeremiah, a freshman running back at Notre Dame, savors.
We've been doing it since I've been playing football. And
Jason gave Jeremiah that opportunity to play football at a young age.
When I look in his eyes now, I still see that 6-year-old kid. And it's just a connection that we have. It's a bond. And I feel his spirit, he feel mine.
That same spirit is why growing up, Jason made sure to be at every game. But because of her long hours at work as a public servant, his mother, LaTanya, missed out on some key moments growing up.
My service with the police department, and it just, my long hours at work, the holidays, birthdays, all those missed times, practices, football games, basketball games, I missed a lot, a whole lot.
Jeremiah wrote his mother a letter his freshman year in high school. And for LaTanya, it was an eye-opener.
In his letter, he said that he wished he could spend more time with his mother. And that changed things for me. I just knew how important it was for me to change what I was doing.
Fast forward 4 years later, LaTanya is in the stands, and so is her husband, Jason, looking for his son to carry on the tradition the two have shared since he was a boy.
It started off as just a parent just congratulating his son initially when he was like 6 years old playing pee-wee ball. He didn't have the confidence at first, so I used to take him to the side and say, son, you're great. You're going to do great. You're already a winner. Even you win when you lose, you're still a winner. That's just a ritual we shared, the father and son bond.
my dad just reminds me that, I am me, and just to do the best that I can, really just pumps me up before the game and gets me locked in and ready to play.
Well, Jeremiah has 4 older siblings, and they all look forward to that moment that he shares with their father before the game, including his mother, LaTanya. She encourages the father-son bond to share that ritual before every game, and it will continue even in today's spring game, not a regular season, but a spring game. That ritual is going to continue as Jeremiah Love and his father, Jason, will have that moment before kickoff. I talked to his father, Jason, earlier. I texted him, and he said he's in town from St. Louis for today's 93rd annual spring game. Live outside Notre Dame Stadium, Levon Whitaker, ABC57 Kickoff.
Thanks so much, Levon. Great job. Coming up, so much more here on ABC 57 Kickoff. Stay with us.
The Notre Dame defense locked and loaded. The offense, still a few question marks. Season 3 of the Marcus Freeman era kicks off today with the annual Blue Gold game.
Well, this season marks a new era of college football with the start of the 12-team playoff. Notre Dame Athletic Director Emeritus Jack Swarbrick was one of just 4 members, Allison, of the committee that designed and proposed a new model.
Yeah, that's right. That will be starting this season. Now, in part 2 of my exclusive one-on-one interview, Jack talks very candidly about his role on that committee and how name, image, and likeness, or NIL, and the transfer portal are what he calls damaging college sports.
Became such a mess because as an industry, we just never had the discipline to get out in front. We've been reacting to everything that's happened. The 2 greatest forces right now, name, image, and likeness, and the transfer portal, we were early advocates for. I mean, and in both cases, we were advocates for them because every other student on campus can earn off the value of their name, image, and likeness. We argued for both those things. We weren't arguing for them to come online with no regulation, no governance, no structure, and that's been a disaster.
And with a program like Fund and any other ways that Notre Dame is kind of navigating NIL, do you feel like Notre Dame is able to compete with other programs that maybe are not so concerned about doing things the right way?
There are a lot of schools that were making money available to student athletes for a long time. And we navigated that just fine, right? I mean, if all you're focused on as a prospective student athlete is where can I maximize my NIL value, Notre Dame's not the right place for you. What I feel strongly about is this whole, while I think the industry is in crisis and we have to fix it, in some ways it's benefited Notre Dame because it's reinforced our distinctiveness. The things that have been unique about this place for a long time are now even more unique. And you can draw the distinction even more clearly for parents and prospective student athletes.
The playoffs. Everyone's talking about the playoffs, of course. That's going to be starting this year, and you were at the forefront of that, one of four of that committee to actually come up with the model for the 12-team playoff. What went into your vision for what it became, and then what is your vision for it as it moves into this new chapter for college sports?
It was a great committee that got to the right result. And one small example, in virtually any other college sport, you have about a 24% chance of being in the postseason. In football, you had something less than a 4% chance of being in the postseason, right? So we wanted to get it closer to that without creating a situation that taxed the student athletes too much. And the model we came up with really sort of threaded that needle perfectly. We did some good work and came up with a good model, and unfortunately, the politics of the time caused effectively a 2-year delay in adopting it, and we paid a heavy price for that.
And of course, you had interest in how Notre Dame would fare within this 12-team playoff. What do you feel like was the benefits for a team like Notre Dame to remain independent and still be able to have an opportunity?
Well, it's enormously beneficial to our strong interest in remaining independent because now there are many more opportunities for us to qualify. To get it done is the art of compromise, right? Everybody's got their interests that they're trying to work through, and so I had to address the question of us not playing 13 games, and everybody else played 13. And so I addressed that by saying, okay, we won't take the bye when we're one of the top 4 teams. And I know some of our fans don't like that compromise, but I remind them all the time. The alternative probably would have been staying at a 14 playoff, so it's not so bad.
Sure. That has been an argument that I hear constantly. Oh, well, there's no bye, but there's also no conference championship. So in theory, Notre Dame has their bye during conference championship.
That's exactly the week we get our bye. We're no different from anybody else in that regard. And of course, if we're anywhere 1 through 8, we're hosting that first game. And so that's a good place to be.
Now, Vahid, Jack said he just hopes it's an opponent from the deep south playing at Notre Dame Stadium here in December.
Florida State doesn't want to play in this, or Florida, or any other southern team. But great conversation with Jack Allison. I loved just how open and honest he was about NIL and about the transfer portal and about really everything else.
Yeah, he said he actually hates stepping away when they are in such a disaster, as he used those words, but he does plan to remain actively involved to try to help get college sports back on track. He's also been a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing speaking about NIL in Washington, D.C.
Interesting topics, and we'll have more from your interview with Jack Swarbrick, of course, throughout the summer and even into next fall.
That's right. Well, coming up, we still have much more to come, including a live fun and games with Golic. This guy right here, he's going down. I'm taking him down today. We're going to talk some football, and then I'm putting him to the test. Oh, yeah.
He's ready.
I've been practicing, buddy. You're going down. Stick around. You don't want to miss it. to be here live.
Right.
And here we go. Welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff, and welcome back, Mike Golic, of course, our favorite. He is back. We've missed you all off season.
I have missed being here, except it's a little chilly, though I should know this by now. It being April, you think you're in spring. We'll probably get a snowstorm at some point, but it's good to be back.
Well, it's been a busy off season for you. Grandbaby number 2
Yes.
has arrived.
Yes. Grandbaby number 2, baby Alex, Sydney, and my daughter, and Ben, her husband. So that's been awesome. We're really gearing up for our 3rd annual golf tournament, Golic Family Foundation, which I know you'll be golfing in again.
Oh, yeah.
I just like inviting you because I golf better than you.
You
just
do.
to beat you.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie about it.
Yeah.
Anybody's ever played, they know.
Ofer. Personal news, too. Congratulations on the show. Gojo and Golic, you host with your son. It's been syndicated now, and it's going to be heard here on Michiana on 960 a.m. every day at noon, so what can listeners expect there?
It's kind of used to the old days, when I was at ESPN where we do a radio show, but it's on TV as well. Now Mike and I do it's TV, it's streaming, and now on radio again. So it's cool. I mean, I didn't know I'd go back to every day again, but you can't turn down the chance to work with your kid. Though I wish Mike felt like that because he treats me with zero respect. Zero, as you guys well know. So
And that, of course, makes it fun to listen to.
Does it?
Does
it though?
does,
really?
for us.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Well, let's get into a little bit of football with you. One of the things that we are looking for this spring and into the fall, the offensive line. It's an intriguing storyline. Joe Alt, of course, Blake Fisher, they are gone. Injuries sort of wreaked some havoc on that line last fall, but a lot of guys got some playing time, and there's been some moving pieces. What do you feel like are the strengths and weaknesses of this O-line?
Well, obviously, when you lose 2 tackles like that, that's going to automatically be a weakness because it isn't what it was. So that has to be built back up. Joe Rudolph has his work cut out for him, the O-line coach, but I like him a lot. It's just that this is the position group that has to be in sync the most. They have to be like dancers together, in lockstep, feet-wise, hand-wise, knowing what they're doing, knowing who they're blocking. It almost has to be communication without communicating. They have to know. So the quicker they can get the pieces set, you like versatility of guys being able to play, and you need to. Both interior, all 3 interior positions or both tackles, but you've got to be able to get some continuity, get some guys at their position, staying at that position to work together.
Well, the question is, Mike, who are they going to be blocking for? What quarterback in the fall? Is it going to be Riley Leonard, who has the injury right now, or is one of the surprise guys going to be Steve Angeli, or are we going to see maybe Minchie or even C.J. Carr? Who knows?
Well, I think Riley Leonard is going to go in, just like Sam Hartman came in last year while they were talking about it being a competition. He was going to be the guy, but he got to practice all spring and play in the spring, and this is different with Riley Leonard. He's gone through the ankle injury, so while I think Leonard will be the starter, it is always important to know who your backup is because you're one play away from playing. And that's true at any position, but really that quarterback position, that's essential. So which of these other guys steps out? Angeli, it's an interesting situation now at Notre Dame because twice now they've gone outside to in. So you're not playing a developed quarterback here. And Angeli has stayed through this and looking for his opportunity. So we'll see. Can he take advantage of that? Maybe be the starter, but if not, be the backup and be one step away. That's the big thing because Riley Leonard, it's just not guaranteed he's going to play all the games coming off the injury. We'll see.
We're all sort of a little gun shy, I think, too, after what happened with Sam, and he was so highly touted. And didn't quite pan out the way we'd hoped, so we will see moving forward. What we're also going to see after this commercial break is a live Fun and Games with Golic, and this is my day. I'm taking you down. I'm ready. I've been practicing all morning.
Build yourself
She's
up.
talking a lot of smack, though, going into this one.
Build yourself up all you want. You're going down.
Watch me practice. It wasn't pretty.
Wasn't pretty.
All right, well, stick around. We're going to be back after the break. A live Fun and Games with Golic.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Welcome back to ABC 57 Kickoff. It may be in the 30s, boo, but it's always a good time for golf and Fun and Games with Golic, and we're calling this edition Chip Off on Kickoff. Does Allison Hayes go over lifetime against Mr. Golf himself.
Allison and I, we have been on the golf course here. We have been on a golf course in Ireland together, and now we're chipping into. I wouldn't aim for any of the holes over there. I would just try and hit the actual board. I think
I've
you'll
been
struggle doing
practicing.
that.
Full disclosure, I've been practicing all morning, and I only made 2 all day, but I'm ready.
So quickly,
Explain.
before we get to the game here, it's only 3 golf balls each, so 1 round each. These smaller holes are 100 points. The bigger one, let's see the board here. Can we turn the camera to get the board, guys? So these are 100 and these are 50. So the bigger holes are 50,
All right.
smaller
All right,
ones are
let's do
100.
this.
And because, Mike, you're the leader in the clubhouse, you get to go
Okay.
first, sir.
I'll do that.
All right, here we go. 3 shots each, smaller holes 100. And if you get it in those, it counts as Allison's, by the way.
You get it in my board, it's mine.
Whatever.
First shot from Mike Golic. Looking good!
Oh, that was a very excellent start.
All
That
right,
was very good.
Allison, you're up next here. Again,
I
chip
hear my
off
boys
on
cheering
kickoff.
for me
Fun
in the
and games
background.
with Mike Golic. Allison. She's been
Oh, you almost
coming
gave me
in
some
hot.
points.
All right,
Appreciate
Mike
that.
Golic, second shot for Mike here. Let's see what he does with it. Looking good.
Oh, no.
Looking good. Mike with 100 points.
You did it again. All
Allison's
right, it's not
practicing
over. It's not over till you say it's over.
hours and hours this morning. Allison, the pressure's on. Shot number 2.
Oh, good
just
shot.
Okay, we need
now.
another ball.
Good
All
try.
right,
Good try.
Mike Golic, this is your 3rd and final shot. 100 points on the board for Mike. Does he add to it? Yes,
Oh
he
my
does!
gosh.
150
Nothing but net.
points for Mike Golic.
Okay, I'm going to need this one to be worth 200 then.
Yeah, so this one's worth about 300 points for Allison. Unfortunately, she doesn't get it done.
But there's a twist.
Are you adding a twist to this
I'm
game?
adding a twist.
What's a twist?
Sudden death. All right, so
It's
we have
150 to
done
nothing. How's there sudden death?
water pong because I'm trying to get a win here.
Okay.
So water pong, you murdered me in it. You're so good bouncing it in. So we get 1 shot each to try to bounce it in for the win.
1 shot each, bouncing it in.
Okay.
All right.
So, am I going to go first or same time?
Oh, I like
Same
the
time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
All right. Fun and games with Allison is 0 for 10.
This is
12,
not fun.
14.
I'm the winner. I am the
Not
winner.
Fun and games with Golic. Once again,
Are
he's
you having
happy.
fun? Are you
Yeah,
having fun?
Yeah. I like having you on, but I don't like getting beat every time, but that's okay.
Mike, thanks so much.
I enjoy it. I always enjoy beating her in anything.
And while we have you, before we toss to break, we got the golf clubs out coming up this summer. It's your 3rd annual golf outing.
June 22nd, June 23rd, we're going Saturday and Sunday. GolicFamilyFoundation.com is where you can check it out to be a part of it, golf in it, donate. The party the night before is going to actually be in the concourse of the stadium this year.
Ooh,
So
that's
very
the best
cool.
part.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, well, awesome. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks.
Have a great time here on campus. Stick around. We have more to come here on ABC57 Kickoff.
Blue versus gold.
The blue team has opened up the quarterback position and drafted Steve Angeli.
Teammate versus teammate.
There's been a trade.
Today, the Irish go head-to-head in the final spring practice.
That's toughness. That's consistency. Whatever other positive adjective you want to put on it, that's what we're about. You understand?
Last year, the gold, led by Coach Al Washington, shined despite the rain.
We're not going to be dealing in adjectives. We're going to be dealing in verbs, straight action.
In 2022, a last-second touchdown sealed the victory for Coach Dylan McCullough and his Gold Squad. Who will have bragging rights today? It's time for the rubber match.
Well, I'm confident in our team. We got the right players. We're going to go out and dominate on Saturday.
Go team for the dub. Let's go.
Live from the campus of Notre Dame, this is ABC57 Kickoff, presented by Afdent Dental, with your hosts, Allison Hayes and Vahid Sadrazadeh.
Football is back on the campus of Notre Dame. Look at that beautiful shot of the Golden Dome. The Irish going head-to-head today in the 93rd annual Blue Gold Game. Kickoff is less than a half hour away inside the house that Rockne built. Welcome back to ABC57 Kickoff as we begin a new season of Notre Dame football. I'm Allison Hayes.
I'm Vahid Sadrzadeh. We're not shivering or anything here. Allison may be crying, though, because she's 0 for a lifetime against Golic in fun and games with Golic. Oh, so close. And it wasn't really that close, Allison.
No, he killed me again. I'm trying.
Next time.
Just stick to talking sports.
Well, we're talking football, and there have been a few changes here in the offseason. The last time we saw the Irish 4 months ago, transfer quarterback Riley Leonard will not be playing in today's game. He's still recovering, Allison, from that second injury, that ankle surgery to his ankle, but he's been back to practice earlier than expected and going through light workouts with the team, and he says it's because of a specific brace he's wearing on that ankle.
Yeah, that's right. And a few years ago, a Notre Dame athletic trainer got creative to help manage injuries for these football players that they were dealing with. And the Takeo brace started as a quick fix on the sideline, but now it's revolutionizing sports medicine. And not just here in South Bend, but at top collegiate and professional programs around the country. Typically, if you see Notre Dame athletic trainer Mike Bean during the game, it's not a good thing. Mike started out as an intern in 1990 and has been part of the Irish staff for more than 30 years. He's worked with a lot of athletes and seen a lot of injuries.
Be able to safely put a guy back out on the field in a quick manner. That's always the thing in a game day situation, is how quick can you get him back.
Ankle injuries are among the top 5 most common in the sport. And according to an NCAA study, football players are nearly 7 times more likely to be injured during a game than in practice. So Mike started brainstorming.
There was always a lot of different ankle braces you could wear that would go inside the shoe. And they served a purpose and they worked, but they weren't always very comfortable. You either had to go to a bigger size shoe or you had to modify your shoe you're wearing.
And came up with the Takeo brace. The Takeo brace fits on the outside of the shoe, so the athlete can wear his or her normal cleat.
For a guy who's, needs his speed, he needs to be able to cut, how important is feel for an athlete?
How it fits and how it feels. The athletes are so concerned about, their function, as rightly so, whether they have the injury or not. So anytime you have to put something on, a brace on something, first thing I want to know is, all right, well, can I still do my job? And with the makeup of this particular brace, they can do their job. So they're able to put their foot in the ground and plant. It's not rigid like a cast.
Mike took his idea to longtime Notre Dame and local orthopedic doctor Fred Furlick, and the two went to Notre Dame's Idea Center, where the dream became a reality. Mike introduced the Takeo brace during the 2013 season, and countless Irish athletes across all Notre Dame sports have worn it since, like Notre Dame All-American offensive lineman Joe Alt, a projected first-round pick at this year's NFL Draft.
During my sophomore year of college, I had a wrist and an ankle injury, and the Takeo wrist and ankle brace allowed me to not miss a snap and play the rest of the season.
The entire brace is manufactured right here in South Bend at Midwest Orthotics. Right now, 5 Irish student athletes are using the Takeo brace, including Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard.
The brace has been super impactful for me. There's no concern to me walking to class and tweaking my ankle because this has protection. And then even at practice, I'm able to do 3-step drops, able to do pretty much all the QB drills that the other guys are doing. So, thank goodness for this brace. It's saved me a lot of boot time.
The ability to return to practice gives Leonard the opportunity to continue learning the new Irish offense and develop chemistry with his teammates.
This was his idea. And he was going to challenge himself to have 100% focus on every rep. So he had the headset on, he knew every call that was going in, and he went and stepped through every single one. And so that's who he's been. He's actually practicing a little bit more now, doing some 7-on-7, some other things.
The Takeo brace is now used in all sports at Notre Dame, from lacrosse to basketball, and it's no longer South Bend's best-kept secret. 68 FBS Division I universities are now using the Takeo brace, including Alabama, Clemson, LSU, and Michigan, the reigning national champions. Even opponents of the Irish have bought in, like Texas A&M, Florida State, and Purdue. In fact, the Boilermakers are using it preventatively, outfitting the entire offensive line. And it's not only college teams. 15 NFL teams, including 5-time Super Bowl champions, the New England Patriots.
Could you have ever imagined in 1990 when you arrive as an intern at Notre Dame that someday, while here, you would create something that's really revolutionizing sports medicine?
No idea whatsoever. It has been kind of mind-blowing. I just, it was kind of from where the inception was to where it is today. Proof's in the performance. So we've had really good success with guys liking it. We've even had guys come in and say, "Hey, can I wear the Takeo today? My ankle's not feeling very good." So those are the kind of things that make you feel good.
Now, when we first did the story on the Takeo brace back in 2018, there were 41 FBS teams that were using it. Now, that number has grown to 68. And back then, I believe there was 7 NFL teams. Now there's 15, doubling their number. And now they've broken into the NBA with 5 NBA teams and even 1 MLB team, the Baltimore Orioles. So it just continues to grow and grow.
Well, and it's not just for athletes, Allison. It can be worn with the outside of the steel-toed boots to help skilled laborers get back to work. And the company is developing a brace with the U.S. Air Force for paratroopers to jump out of airplanes with it, so all facets of life.
It's really interesting, and it gets people back to work, whatever your work may be. Now, you may be wondering how Mike came up with the name Takeo. It's simple. He tells me that was the easiest part. He just looked to his daughters, Taylor and Courtney, and his wife, Colleen, for inspiration. Takeo.
Takeo brace.
Live, and I'm 5, and I'm pride, and we always gonna ride. Bars.
Bars is back. He's not only fast on the field, but full of personality.
There he
Former
is.
Notre Dame and current NFL cornerback Troy Pride Jr. could be live with the Sevens because he's number 27 now in the NFL. He joins us live coming up next.
Myron Tagovailoa. Myron, so how do you truly pronounce your name? The secret is the beginning. Because it's live, and I'm 5, and I'm pride, and we always gonna ride. Bars.
Experiencing a while and for Evan Fairley Juke. And, I blame Jameer for not tackling the quarterback. Live with the 5s.
All right, we are live with the 5, Troy Pride Jr., former Notre Dame cornerback, joining us now.
Well, that was back in 2019. Troy, at a post-practice meeting, said you sat down right in the chair and you're like, live with the 5s. You remembered my microphone was sitting right there on the ground. Something inspired you to pick up the microphone, and you and Myron did like a back and forth. I mean, the personality, we still cherish that to this day.
Well, I appreciate that. We did have a good time. I mean, I like to be a fun-loving guy. That's just kind of who I am. And at the time, you got the 5s together, and we were just having a good time.
I love it. Well, let's remind folks just how good you were back in the day for the Irish. 121 total tackles, 18 pass breakups, a forced fumble, 2 fumble recoveries, and 4 interceptions for your career. And you were so fast. You were also a sprinter on the Notre Dame track team.
Well, we might need a new version of the Live with the 5s because you now wear 27 for the Houston Texans. Tell us a little bit about the NFL journey after you left college.
I was blessed enough to be drafted to the Carolina Panthers, and truly it was a good experience. I dealt with some injuries, dealt with some adversity. But I think now that I'm in such a good place with Houston and being able to compete and be exactly who I want to be, that now you're starting to see, more of that funness of the game coming back out, and me truly being able to, incorporate my personality in my game and play at a high level and be the contributing and trustable player that I should be.
I've loved watching your journey on social media too, and just you show how much you're working, how hard you're working, and it's really inspiring. So keep it up because we're rooting for you. Now we want to talk a little bit of Notre Dame football with you though too, and this DB room this year is absolutely loaded with talent, and there's going to be a good competition going on this spring, probably heading into fall as well, to fill the holes left by Cam Hart and Thomas Harper. How do you like the competition between Jaden Mickey and Christian Gray?
See, I think they're in such a great position. I talked with Coach Mickens earlier today about how, when Ben went down, it was a little, you're wondering a lot of things, but I think Jaden and Christian Gray have done a good job of, competing against each other, but also, making sure that they're bettering themselves and putting themselves in a position to be contributing players to this defense, which is something that I had to do throughout my journey coming up, so I can respect that. I think that that's a commendable aspect, and it's going to just prove dividends for them later on.
Well, what about this blue-gold game is special to you as a player? When you run out of that tunnel, specifically the secondary, right? What are you looking for them? But what about this blue-gold game makes it special for those players coming out of that tunnel? It's
special because, you're around such a dedicated and loyal fan base. It's, 50, but probably feels like 30 degrees out here. And, they're still out here cheering, they're tailgating, they're having a good time. So that's a special aspect. But also you get a chance to really, go live speed. You're in the stadium, and it just feels real before everything's real. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good aspect, and it's a fun time.
When you were here, you were a part of an incredible freshman class, including Julian Love, Jalen Elliott, yourself. I mean, you guys had so much talent out there, but you were able to kind of all fit in and find your own places. And I think that's something we might see from this group. A lot of guys are getting in there, getting reps and getting that action. But, everyone loves Benjamin Morrison. He's not playing today because of an injury. Who do you really like that stands out in that group?
I really like Jaden Mickey. I've said it before he was even playing. And Christian Gray as well. Both of those guys, I think, are competition-based. And I'm coming in and really wanting to see technique from them today. Just, doing the details, good form, solid tackling. And just, like I said, having fun with this day. You can't put too much onus or pressure on yourself. And, you go out there, have some fun time, make some plays with your guys, celebrate in the end zone or something, and it's a great day.
Well, we saw Jaden Mickey have a heck of a scrimmage last week. He got that pick six, so we might see it out here again today.
Hey, I'm looking for some more. Or Christian, he might say, you got that last week. I got one in front of the fans, in front of everybody. So, either way, I think that, the defense as a whole is going to come out and play with tenacity, and then we'll see, how the offense shapes up.
Well, we truly enjoyed covering you at your time here at Notre Dame, and we wish you all the luck in the NFL. Please come back here.
Of course. Thank you very much for having me, and we'll be seeing me more soon.
Troy Pride joins us here on ABC 57 Kickoff. Stay with us right here. We'll be right back.
I'm meteorologist Dave Caulfield, and it really doesn't feel too much like the spring game out here. Lots of folks in heavy coats, sweatshirts, and hats because temperatures are going to be in the 40s for this game, and it feels like temperatures right now, as folks filter into Notre Dame Stadium behind me, are deep into the 30s at this point. So as we get into the game, those temperatures rising through the 40s, but feels like temperatures likely going to stay in the 30s throughout the majority of this contest. And this is going to be the coldest blue-gold game since 2013, when highs that day only made it into the low 40s. Nothing like 2 years ago where we were in the 80s for the spring game. But I guess this weather is better than last year, because even though it was a little bit warmer last year, we did have rain and snow during portions of the game. Live outside Notre Dame Stadium, meteorologist Dave Caulfield with ABC 57 Kickoff.
Well, the competition between the Irish actually kicked off earlier this week with the return of the blue-gold draft.
Players are selected by coaches and the seniors, which always adds some excitement leading up to the game. And as usual, Levon, the Irish did not shy away from a little smack talk. A little smack talk. We'll just leave it at that.
They're going to always get it in. For the third straight year, the blue-gold game would be coached by Al Washington and Dylan McCullough, who won the 2022 blue gold game, and then last year it was Washington last year. The year before that it was Dylan McCullough. But listen, today it's a tiebreaker between these two coaches, and it's safe to say the competitive spirit has already started.
What you've got to do out there is represent what blue's all about, man. That's toughness. That's consistency. Whatever other positive adjective you want to put on it, that's what we about. You understand?
We're not going to be dealing in adjectives. We're going to be dealing in verbs, straight action.
A little trash talking always gets the blood flowing, but so does the opportunity to hit your quarterback.
Kenny Minchie and CJ Carr will be live.
And with the first overall pick in this year's draft,
The blue team has opened up the quarterback position and drafted Steve Angeli. Steve, come on down. Just the first pick of each team will get a chance to take a picture with the pick.
that leaves Kenny Minchie to the gold team. And from there, it was the best available at each position.
Gold team has opened up the defensive tackle position and drafted Jason Onye.
With seniors already assigned to teams, the future household names got some shine.
The blue team has opened up the running backs position and drafted Jeremiah Love. The gold team has opened up the safeties position and drafted Adon Schuler. The blue team has opened up the wide receivers position and drafted Jaden Greathouse.
Sometimes rosters start to look just a little suspect, and the head honcho has to intervene.
Head Coach Vito. This will be subject to a conversation between myself and Coach Golden post-draft, but the blue team has drafted Jaden Alsbury.
Always entertaining to see the strategies of both teams, but on a serious note, today the Irish will honor cornerback Jaden Mickey's late mother, Nilka, who lost her battle with colon cancer in December last year. The team will wear a purple shirt with the gold ND logo on the front and a Bible verse on the back from Romans chapter 15, verse 13. It reads, "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with the power, by the power of the Holy Spirit." To Allison and Vahid.
All right, thanks so much, Levon. It is time for our prop bets. Even though it's a spring game, we're still going to do prop bets.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to start off with who do we think is getting the first touchdown today? Starting with me, I got Xavier Watts. I like the defense. I saw the scrimmage last week, and I'm feeling the D. They're going to get it done. How about you, Troy Pride Jr.? We got Mike Goolsby joining us once again, former linebacker.
For me, number 19, Jaden Greathouse. I feel like is a guy. He's going to go out and do it and get the first touchdown.
All right. How about for you, Levon?
What are we doing here? I'm sorry.
We're starting off our prop bets with first touchdown.
First touchdown. I'm going with Jeremiah Love, the St. Louis native. I think he gets through the tackles and he's going to punch it in.
Got a mixed bag. I love it. Yeah.
All right, Goolsby.
I'm going with Jabron Payne, and that's Coach McCullough's boy. I think he's going to feed him today. I like, give me Jabron Payne.
I like Chris Mitchell on the outside, gets the first touchdown. We saw a little bit of him last week during practice. I like him for the first touchdown in the end zone.
I like that. I'd like to see some offensive scoring. That would be good. That'd be a positive. All right. Now our next one is going to be who gets the first sack of the day. Levon, start us off.
I'm going to go with the 6'7" defensive end, Bryce Young. He's a freshman. He played tight end. Came here, we got recruited as a defensive end after playing years on the offensive side of the ball. You just can't teach that type of size. I'm going with Bryce Young.
All right, I like Boubacar Traore. I love saying his name more than anything else, but I love him on the edge. He had a really great scrimmage as well. How about you, Troy Pride Jr.?
Jalen Sneed is a name that's really big, and I think he's on the upcoming. He's going to do it.
He's looked good this spring.
Absolutely.
He looks tremendous.
Yeah.
He's tremendous. And I heard he's top 10 in terms of team speed. He's up there. Kick and run.
And I know all about speed.
I'm with you, Troy. Live with the fives. Jalen Sneed. I got him for the first sack today. All right.
I love having you guys on Legacy Weekend, part of this. You guys are getting some inside scoops. You spent some time with Mickens today, you said, and you were sitting with somebody earlier, too?
Oh, in terms of coaching staff?
Yeah, you just got to spend some time with the coaching staff. But I'll keep us moving here, actually. Yeah. Our last one, MVP prop bets. Who you guys got, Levon?
Jaden Greathouse, simple and plain, 2 words.
I got Jaden Greathouse, too. I love him. I love him all season.
I'm going to go dark horse, Xavier Watts. I didn't get him for the first touchdown, but he's going to make some plays here and be the guy.
right.
You already know the answer. Hashtag why not Kenny? I'm going with Kenny Minchie.
CJ Carr, he lit it up last week. He gets it done.
Kenny Minchie's going to lead the team.
All right,
in rushing,
thanks
too.
for watching ABC Kickoff.